Hello, and welcome to another video game pickups episode, number 7. We have quite the selection of video games today, and I guess we'll start off with the Nintendo Switch, since that is the bulk of my pickups. First up, Super Robot Wars 30. Man, have I been addicted to playing this strategy mech game. The game offers you so much variety in terms of strategy and the sheer number of mechs that you have access to. Your party just keeps on growing and growing, and each mech is so awesome. The attacks are just over the top, and sometimes they'll take upwards of, 45 seconds to fully realize the attack, and it's just a very, very epic game. If you're into strategy games similar to Advance Wars and stuff like that, I highly suggest you look into the Super Robot Wars franchise. Like I said, I've been playing this game non-stop and I plan on beating it. And along with this one, I picked up some others. We got Super Robot Wars T, which came out before 30, and we also have Super Robot Wars V, which came out after T. So yeah, all these games are pretty much the same, right? There's some pretty good storytelling with some clever humor here and there, but I really, really love the amount of mechs that you have at your disposal, and you just... the battles last sometimes an hour long, and you're just feasting your eyes on all the over-the-top cutscenes, and they're kind of like summon spells from Final Fantasy. That's how epic each attack is. Not extremely difficult or anything like that. It's a fair challenge. There is some strategy involved. You have to think, with your brain, which is nice. And yeah, I've been playing this game a lot lately. Super Robot Wars, Mario Strikers Battle League. It's Super Mario Soccer. There's been a few iterations of Mario Soccer, and here's the latest one on the Switch. I'm sure it's going to get plenty of DLC, but it's a lot of fun. I've played it locally, tabletop, with some friends back in my trip when I went home, and I actually recouped some video games, and you're going to have to stay tuned for a next video showing how many of those video games are recovered. But here is another pickup. It's a fun one, and it's been, very Nintendo-like, good quality stuff, and fun local multiplayer game. A limited run game. We have Quake on the Switch here, from the makers of the Doom series, right? You have id Software, and Limited Run released this very seminal first-person shooter. I'm checking it out because I never got the chance to earlier in life, but here it is. It seems like a lot of fun. It's something I can pop into the streams, I think, and you should expect it pretty soon on there, I would say, but the visual art style is very reminiscent of Doom, but I think it's more like medieval, perhaps. There's some ogres and some dudes that you just shoot to bits with different weapons, and nice and gory and bloody stuff here. Indivisible! I got this game because my brother recommended it to me. He said that it is a combination of a Metroidvania and turn-based RPG. So when I heard of that combination, I was like, yep, sign me up. I would always see this game at like Walmart or something, and I never pulled the trigger on it just because the cover art looked a little cheesy, kind of cheap, but I decided to get myself a copy because I didn't find it in stores anymore, and maybe it was making its waves amongst the community and people were buying it up. I have the Switch version here. Maybe I should have opted for the PS4 version, but yeah. Snow Bros! Nick and Tom Special. Man, I have no idea what this game is about, but check out these little snowmen. I think it's like a retro game that just got a second breath at life here. This isn't the limited run edition, but it is one of those limited print versions, I think. And it looks kind of like the very retro Super Mario Bros., the arcade one. I think it's similar to that, but I'm actually pretty curious to check this one out, and the visuals look pretty cool. Klonoa Fantasy Reverie series from Bandai Namco. We have a PAL version of the game here, and this game includes Klonoa 1 and 2. It's a platforming adventure game that has a lot of fans in the video game world. I myself haven't tried it out ever, so what better time to jump on this opportunity? You have both iterations of the game here on the Nintendo Switch, and it looks pretty interesting. I'm not a huge fan of the art style just yet. I'm not really sure what these guys are. They're like little rabbits, or I'm not really sure what they are. But yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about this series, and I can't wait to check it out. Pocky and Rocky Reshrined from Taito. Well, it's licensed by Taito. Another retro video game that has been re-released. And this is one of those pricey SNES games. And it is now available for you to play it on your Nintendo Switch. It's a top-down shooter of sorts. I wouldn't call it a bullet hell, but I'm sure there's parts in which projectiles get crazy and out of hand. But you're either a raccoon, Rocky. I think his name is Rocky, right? And the little geisha girl is Pocky. And you shoot stuff and kill enemies, and the art style is very nice. This iteration of the game is updated, right? It has updated visuals and animations, and some of the art has been spruced up from the original SNES release. I checked out that iteration a while ago, and man, it's pretty timeless, and I'm very excited to finally own it physically in some capacity for my favorite video game system. Bloodrayne, Betrayal, Fresh Bites. Bloodrayne is a series that's been going on since like the PS2 era, if I'm not mistaken, and my brother has sung it praises. So the first couple of those games, if I'm not mistaken, are getting re-released by Limited Run, and then Limited Run also published this spin-off of the game. There's a nice little wall of text there. Not really sure what sort of action I'm in for here, but I figured if I was going to get part 1 and 2, I might as well get the little spin-off that's for it as well. Axiom Verge 2. Man, we're going bananas with the limited run releases here, but Axiom Verge Part 1 I have on the Wii U. I believe it was one of the last Wii U games to come out. And this game is known for being developed by a single dude. Just one guy made the music, the animation, everything. I'm not really sure if it's the same case for Part 2, but this is a Metroidvania style of game. I believe it is like retro pixel style, so that's pretty neat. Part 2 kind of flew under the radar, but I mean, it just released At least physically it did. So I had to get myself a copy of it just to complete the series and stay up to date. Can't wait to check it out. Live Alive! Live a Live! Live a Live. Not sure, but it's by Square Enix. And it is a JRPG through and through. A lot of old school fans have sung its praises as well. It's one of those Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy-esque style games in terms of influence on the genre. And what I've read and heard about this game, at least, is that you progress through the story in different time periods. Like you have prehistory, the Wild West, Imperial China, Twilight of Edo, Japan, present day, of course, the near future, the distant future, and the Middle Ages. So there's a lot of meat on the bones here for this game. A lot of stuff to check out whenever I have time for a massive JRPG. This one is up there on the priority list. Live a Live.
Live alive. Live alive.
Abarenbo, Tengu, and Zombie Nation. We have a dual pack here on this strictly limited release. And I had to get this game because I have somewhat nostalgic value for Zombie Nation, at least, which is a 2D shoot 'em up which originally came out for the NES, and my brother owned that game, and then he re-bought it, and it's a very hard game to come by. But I know nothing of this game other than the fact that my brother played it back in his childhood. He sold it, he recouped it, and then when it was going to get released physically on the Switch, I was like, yep, sign me up. I'm not sure if Abarenbo Tengu is a precursor to Zombie Nation. I don't know if they're related in any sort of way, but here you have both. You have some really cool cover art, and I like how Strictly Limited shows some love for the releases. It came with this really cool like art card, postcard, and it's similar, but a little bit different from the cover art. So yeah, I'm excited to check this one out as well. Zombies Ate My Neighbors and Ghoul Patrol. So we have another dual pack here of retro video games. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I know, came out for the SNES, and Ghoul Patrol is the sequel, which came out on the same platform, if I'm not mistaken. And I've checked this game out. It's pretty interesting. Just kind of like a top-down shooter with some cool retro art. And yeah, it was pretty fun for the brief stint that I played it. The game actually came with these 3D glasses, and I'm not sure if the 3D glasses are for in-game use or something to do with the manual. A lot of these games that I've shown off here come with really cool full-color manuals because that's what Limited Run does, and this is yet another release by them. So yeah, lots of goodies included here. Zombies Ate My Neighbors is quite the cult classic, and as soon as I heard it was going to be released for the Switch, you know me. Guns, Gore, and Cannoli. And Guns, Gore, and Cannoli Part 2. Man, another dual pack. All on a single cartridge. And this release is also by Strictly Limited. I beat Part 1 about a month ago or so. And this game is like ultra-violent, side-scrolling zombie shoot-'em-up with a very nice art style, as you see it here on the cover. And I had lots of fun playing it. I'm not going to get into Part 2 just yet, but this game also came with some little art cards. So here's the one for Part 1. And here's the one for Part 2. Kind of like Prohibition era, parallel universe, zombie apocalypse style game. And it's lots of fun, I will say. So check it out if you haven't. last Switch game is Eastward by Chucklefish, published by Chucklefish. I have no idea what this game is about, but it gave me Earthbound vibes for some reason. So, I don't know. It says, explore a society on the brink of collapse. Switch between John's weapons and Sam's powers. I don't know, it just looked really interesting. So I got myself a copy, and I do not know what I'm in for. Those are all the Switch games. Let's just go on to some PS4 games. Capcom Fighting Collection. Man, I'm a sucker for these game compilation discs. And this one in particular has 10 classic titles. Some of the Darkstalker games are on here. Thankfully, Darkstalkers 3 is not on here because I have that one on the PS1, and I guess I'll get some more variety now that it's not included. I can check out some of the older iterations back when it was called like Vampire Slayer or something like that. You have Pocket Fighter and some other cool stuff on here, but one of the standout titles for me is Red Earth. I played it briefly. You can be a humanoid character and fight against giant monsters, and they're just like one-on-one fighting games. So it's a kind of an interesting concept, and the art is all very retro and very cool. Let me know what you guys think about this game. I know that it was available on the Switch as well, but I wanted to get the PS4 version. Just a second PS4 game, man. We got Xenocrisis from Strictly Limited as well. I have been looking for this game since I believe like 2017, and it came out on a bunch of different consoles, including the Evercade. I think got a physical release of this thing, and I was about to buy myself one of those consoles so that I could have access to this awesome retro style top-down shoot 'em up in which you're this badass Marine or this chick that looks kind of like Jill Valentine from Resident Evil, and you're shooting and killing hordes of aliens. It came with a really cool postcard as well, right there. It's very unforgiving and difficult, but if you couch co-op this with a buddy, it's a lot more doable and very fun. I love the art style. The game is merciless. If you lose, it just spits you back out to the title menu, and you have to start all over again. But finally, after so many years of searching for this thing, Strictly Limited had like some sort of warehouse clearance sale, and they had some extra copies of this thing, and I nabbed myself this, and actually Guns, Gore, and Cannoli as well. Our only Wii game, but it's kind of a heavy hitter. I had never seen this game before. We have Ivy, the Kiwi. When I saw this, I was like, I need that. I've never seen this Wii game, and it's kind of like a puzzle platformer in which you're this little bird and you solve puzzles, I guess. But it's supposed to be pretty cool. Published by Xseed. I don't know much about these guys, but I think they do good stuff. I love the artwork here. It looks kind of like a storybook. So I'm very much looking forward to playing this game now that I have access to a Wii U that I brought back from my hometown. And as you know, the Wii U has a Wii mode that you can play, you know, some retro compatibility there. And I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Grand Theft Auto, the Collector's Edition. I have some faint memories of playing this game at my cousin's house on the PS1, and this one is kind of peculiar because it has this white spine here. I'm assuming it has something to do with the Collector's Edition. I don't know, let me know in the comments. But this is where it all started, folks. Grand Theft Auto came out on the PS1, and it's like a top-down retro style sandbox game. I haven't checked it out too much. The driving is a little wonky, but I'm sure it's a good time. It's nice and complete here. It's pretty minty, and yeah, look at that. Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Grand Theft Auto 3 came out before Vice City, so this release that we're looking at here must have come out after Part 3 did. That's pretty interesting, actually. I'm not sure on that. Is anyone excited for Grand Theft Auto 6? I think it takes place in Vice City, actually. Twisted Metal 2. We got the greatest hits version. I'm not too particular about my PS1 games, seeing as I didn't have many growing up. I was more of a GameCube guy, or whatever the Nintendo console at the time was. So yeah, so long as I have the games, I'm okay with that. But Twisted Metal is the car combat game, the infamous car combat game. And to be honest, I played this one and it just didn't hold up. The controls and the graphics are just kind of not good, but I think Twisted Metal enthusiasts will say that Part 2 is one of the best, if not the best, iteration that you could have. So as soon as I saw myself a copy of this, I wanted to add it to the collection. A PS2 game, Mortal Kombat Deception. I have Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance and Mortal Kombat Armageddon, and I think this is the third one on the PS2. I'm not sure in which order they came out, but I had made note of this game on my video game wish list for a particular reason. I can't recall what it is right now, but it does include like some sort of adventure mode, chess, and puzzle combat. Okay, so this is not the one that has the Mario Kart, the Mortal Kombat Kart mode, but these Mortal Kombat games on the PS2 I do have some nostalgic value for. Very neat and over-the-top, violent, 3D fighting games, and the fatalities are as crazy as ever. And yeah, here it is, Mortal Kombat Deception. A PS3 game, Resistance 3, the game I needed to complete the trilogy. I now have all three Resistances. This one had some sort of compatibility with the PlayStation Move and that gun attachment thing that you could use with those controllers, but I heard that 3 was the best one. I can't recall. Heard good stuff about this series. I haven't played them myself, but very classic at this point. First-person shooters in which you're a dude killing some aliens. My only PS5 game, Resident Evil Village, and this one includes a Reverse, which is some sort of weird online mode that no one cares about. But yeah, I'm trying to attain all Resident Evil games, and I heard this one was pretty terrifying. And seeing as how it's on the PS5, it's going to look nice and scary with all the flashy graphics and stuff. It also goes by just Village. There's like werewolves and a giant vampire lady that stalk you. Funny thing is, when I was hanging out with my cousin
Down in the hometown,
he was looking for a copy of this and 0 stores had it in stock. And here I was sitting on a copy myself for a couple months until I got around to filming this video. Aero the Acrobat, a platforming game in which you're a bat and you fly around and you do stuff, I guess. I think I've played this game a couple times before, but one of my friends nonstop talks about it, so I kind of got it to do him a favor. I'm going to stream it at some point. But yeah, Sunsoft, Aero the Acrobat. Get it? Animaniacs. I only got this game because my cousins owned it at some point, and when we would go over to their house, we would play this game sometimes. Just another platforming game. I'm not sure if it's really good or really bad, but I had to add it to my collection. Desert Strike. I actually meant to purchase Urban Strike. Shout out to Tim Rogers. But nope, here we have Desert Strike. You're a helicopter and you kill things. You fly around from a overhead view and you complete missions and that sort of thing. I'm not sure if Desert Strike is any good. I know Urban Strike is supposed to be the really cool one. There's a Jungle Strike and I think there's another one, or maybe there's a whole bunch of them. But here we have this one. And our last pickup for the video is T2, the arcade game. Now, this one was kind of a boo-boo. I committed a mistake. I actually wanted to get Terminator 2, which is a different video game. But I actually picked up the one that I was meaning to pick up, and you can see that video on my brother's YouTube channel. You should follow Churrasco Voltorb. We did a collaboration pickups video in which you'll see about 15 games that I purchased there, and there's some really good ones on there, guys, so go check that out. And I don't know much about this iteration of the game. I'm not sure if it uses like the Super Scope or something like that. There's some boogers on the label here. This is about the dirtiest game featured on this video, but I'm looking forward to checking it out and seeing if Arnold makes an appearance here or some sort of cameo. But yeah, we're gonna keep it somewhat short and sweet for this video so I could finally integrate these games into my collection, because I always segregate them before they're featured anywhere, so I could keep things a surprise. And yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you guys thought. Do you have a favorite that I picked up, perhaps? Is there one that really sucks and that I wasted my money on? You're just gonna have to let me know in the comments. Okay, bye.